Playground, and I'm your host, Eddie Fluellen, and I am honored to have a guest here. His name is Eric Young, but he goes by the name of EQ. And let me tell you about a little bit about this man before we get started. First of all, he's from the Bay Area, the home of Sly and the Family Stone, one of my favorite groups, Tower Power, another one of my favorite groups, and ConFunkShun, another one of my favorite groups as well. And this is the bass player for ConFunkShun. Eric, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Eddie. Thank you for having me, man. What
Thank
you doing up this early?
Hey, man, trying to be like you.
It's all good.
And just so we know, in the biz, you know, in the community, Eric is also known as EQ.
Yes, sir.
So when you look him up, look for EQ. There he is right there online everywhere.
Yeah.
First of all, let's start right there. Where did the name EQ come from? How did you get that?
EQ, it was a toss-up, man. I did Soul Train with this group called Force One Network with Quincy Jones. So we was in rehearsal mode, and I was saying, man, I don't want to be Eric, you know. I knew he was going to introduce the band, so we was going around. So I had somebody that gave me another name. Then somebody shouted out EQ. Then Don was around and said, yeah, let's go EQ. I said, okay, cool. And that's how EQ started, 1993, man.
Just like that.
Just like that, man. You know, it was a rehearsal, and once we did the rehearsal, actually we kept that take. He said that tape was so live that they kept it. You know, so you know
Really?
It was cool. I got to announce my name. I did Soul Train twice. I did it with Michael Cooper when he had a solo project, but he didn't introduce the band. I'm gonna get him for that.
Got you. That is so funny because, of course, EQ. I mean, that's a common, you know, recording thing. So you know, obviously, I'm thinking, okay, he must have been playing around in the studio and got to messing with stuff and all that stuff, and you know, he's like that good as far as sound and everything. Not to say that you aren't, but I just really thought that that's where it came from. I really.
Well,
did.
Eddie, when I think about it, I always think about I'm always able to adapt in situations that I'm in. You know, it's like, man, I learned at an early age it was who you know. So it's like, okay, let me just fine tune, or you know what I mean, just EQ the situation. And so I was able to just blend that, and so that gives it more meaning to me. To where you know, why there's an EQ.
I like that, and that right. I love it. Since you're there, then let's start right from the beginning. When you at the very beginning, what got you interested, first of all, in music, and then we'll come to how you chose bass as being like your thing, or maybe it all happened at the same time.
No, it was definitely music. It was always James Brown in my parents' house, and you know, and so when Michael Jackson came out, that was my start. You know, so I'm watching him sing "I Want You Back," "Who's Loving You," man. So, you know, I wanted to be him so bad. So I'm like 6, 7 years old when that song came out, man. Remember the popsicle, the ice cream?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes, I do.
That was my microphone. I still remember that. I stood on my mom's living room. They have a little platform. I stood up there and sung.
The actual popsicle stick.
A popsicle dripped down my hand. I did not.
What? That's awesome.
I did not. Yeah. Okay. Just moving on from there, I was in the 5th grade. I had just broken my right thumb. You know, so I'm 7, 8 years old, and "Who's Loving You?" It was a talent show, and I wanted to sing that song so bad. My mom would buy me a little Elvis Presley puff sleeve shirt and had a vest on, and man, but I was embarrassed that I broke my thumb, so I put my cast behind my back, and I just closed my eyes and sung "Who's Loving You." Boy, I thought I was
wow. And went for it, huh?
Yeah. But then my grandparents, they gave me, well, my grandfather, he gave me a folk guitar, 6-string folk guitar, but it only had 3 strings on it. So, man, you know, and he just handed it to me, and you know, my grandfather's from Louisiana, so he had that Southern twang. And
there you go, right?
He added an S on my name. He said, Eric's, you know, put that S on it. Eric's, say something for me. You know, I tried to play that guitar as soon as he handed it to me, so I still remember that today. And it's a trip because I just did that same experience with my granddaughter. I gave her one of my signature basses because she wanted to play bass. So she was like, and almost in the same place. I went over. She was at my mom's house over in the Bay Area. I went to go visit. My son was over there, so I brought the bass over there. So I said, "Here's your bass." Oh my goodness, just to see her eyes, so it just made me reminisce of what my grandfather did to me. And just no one know where it came from, the music, because I didn't know anyone in my family who was into music. My mom used to give my sisters like keyboard lessons, but they didn't pay attention. I would be listening around the corner or watching the teacher. And once she leave, I go jump on the keyboard and play what she was trying to teach my sisters. So
Wow. And those are the people that I call like the music appreciators. I mean, they appreciated music. So you definitely had that around you and your family. And like you talk about like James Brown and all that stuff. Needless to say, James.
That's how I learned how to groove. That's how I learned how the groove was. I didn't know what it was, but man, that was my teacher. The radio was pretty much my teacher. I'm self-taught, so.
Oh wow, really? Really?
Yeah, that's
okay. So again, you're from the Bay Area, and again, you've got like tons of like music influences around you or whatever. And I'm totally dating myself, and I'm sure as far as Sly. Sly.
Oh, it's so good.
Good. So speaking of Sly, I know that's got to be an influence there with you.
It's so weird because I'm so affiliated with the whole troupe. I actually got to play with Sly. We were rehearsing to do the Super Bowl halftime show.
Whoa. Hold on. Let's just vegetate on that thought right there. You got to play with Sly.
We rehearsed in Napa Valley over here in California. In the wine country. He had a house out there, man. We were rehearsing to do the halftime show, and
Now you were with another band, or you were with Sly?
I was with Sly's band. Yeah, he put together a new band. There was some Bay Area cats, and his sister got me to audition. Her name was Vet Stone. And so it got me to come in and play. And he looked at me and said, "You look just like Larry Graham, skinny too." I said, "Oh God, is that a good
now,
thing?"
Did you have the hair? Did you have the hair too?
No, this was like I want to say about 12 years ago.
Oh wow, recently. Okay.
Yeah, it was about 12 years ago. We were gonna do the Super Bowl halftime show. I was on a cruise ship. I think Tom Joyner, and somebody called me and said, "I need to come audition for Sly." I said, "Well, I'm on a cruise. I said, will you guys be there when I get back?" He said, "Yeah." As soon as I got off the ship, I came to the audition. It was in Oakland, man. It was like 5, 6 other cats auditioning, and it was a trip because I know the political game. I didn't have an amplifier, so I'm trying to pay every cat, man, can I use the amplifier to audition? Nobody wanted to get, but they stuck around. I called my friend, actually one of the first bass players I ever met, and he was left-handed. So my first 2 bass players that I got to sit down with, they were left-handed, so I couldn't learn from them. So I called, I said, "Man, I need an amplifier. I need to audition for Sly." So he brought it down there. All those bass players stuck around and watched me audition. But once I started, it was a wrap because I knew all and just how it's supposed to lay. Everybody's showing chops. I said, "Listen to the record, play what's on the record."
Wow.
Instantly, I got that gig. And that was the most funniest experience. For us auditioning. I know it's a competition thing. You're trying to get the job, but if I had an amp, I would have loaned it to the next guy because I've been in that. I just got off a cruise ship, so I had no chance to go get my own personal stuff. But a good brother did come through, man. So, Larry Graham was my very first experience of the Sly Stone whole troupe. I played for his sister's wife. His wife's sister. I'm sorry. Yeah, Larry's wife's sister had a wedding in Oakland. And I was playing with this band. They were a Jehovah's Witness band. Larry's, he's in the Jehovah's Witness. So I was working with this band and said, "Man, we're gonna play for Larry's, wife's sister's wedding." I said, "Can you do it?" I said, "Sure." So man, I'm playing in front of Larry Graham, 16 years old. Well, I had a Fender Jazz.
16.
Yes, we had a skit to where I did a solo and I'm falling down on my back and everything. I said,
"Oh, so that was part of the act."
that's part of that, you know. So that was my first experience meeting him. Then, gosh, maybe a month later, remember the Gong Show?
Yes,
Remember
yes. Mm-hmm.
that same band? We auditioned for the Gong Show and we made it, but they canceled the season. We was on some kind
Oh
of
man.
promo commercial and everything, but we were in L.A. Larry was living in L.A. and that's where I met my other favorite bass player, Janice Johnson from Takes the Honey. So it's like, man, I'm being invited over at Larry Graham's house,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going over Arnold Larkin's assistant Karen, whatever her name was,
Mm-hmm.
but she
Mm-hmm.
got meet
Mm-hmm.
Taste the Honey when they were just big time hot rolling. I said, man, I was in a dream world, man. So,
Wow. Had you ever
that
met
was my
Janice before that?
no, but
Oh,
now
okay.
that after doing all these years, I've been with ConFunkShun going on 28 years now. So,
It's been that long, really?
and a lot of people don't know I was with Dad's band before ConFunkShun. So that's 29 being affiliated with Dad's band.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so man,
Wow.
it
So
man,
so wait so wait a minute. Wait,
I'm
wait.
looking at my life flash in front of my eyes. I'm not gonna lie.
And I'm looking at you now. So what did you actually get your first pro gig? What were you, like 5 years old? Seriously?
Oh no, back to the Sly Stone troupe, Jerry Martini. He was a
Oh.
booking agent
Mm-hmm.
in the Bay Area, and Traywin Productions, this guy named Marty Home, big time agent up here. He went on to work with Janet Jackson, being her tour manager, and Paula Abdul, and just moving on.
Mm-hmm.
So he saw me working in a record store. I knew who he was. He didn't know who I was. So I asked the agent. I said, "Hey, I'm a bass player. I'm looking for a gig." He said, "Well, I got this band going on an Asia tour for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
They're leaving next week, but
Mm-hmm.
they're up in Sacramento. I was in the Bay Area, so I went up to audition, got the gig. Had to learn like 80 top 40 songs in a week. Go back and forth from the Bay Area to Sacramento. Get a booster shot. Get a passport." Then my mom at the time, she didn't believe it. She thought I was going for 3 days. I said, "Mom, I'm going for 3 months." So,
Right. Right.
so that was the first time, seeing one of her kids leave the house
Wow.
and go
And
somewhere.
boy, and did you and you left?
I
I mean, on a
laughed, man,
cruise?
because it
Uh-huh.
lasted longer than 3 months. But I was able to, see my mom have her first airplane ride because we ended
Uh,
up living in Hawaii for another 9 months. I'm stationed playing at Hickam Air Force Base with this band called Phase Two, and we played pretty much 6 nights a week. But I
mhm,
had I had a dream then because I said, man, to be stuck in Hawaii, I love it.
mhm.
I went around the whole Waikiki Island 4 hours. Okay, now what? What I'm gonna do
Now,
now?
EQ, let me
you
just make
know,
sure. EQ, this is at the beginning. This is the beginning of your career, right?
very very beginning.
How,
Yes,
how old were you then? How old were
I
you?
was 18.
18. Wow.
I'm
Okay.
50. I'm 59 now. So
Oh, okay. I wasn't gonna go. And
yeah,
like I said, what
yeah.
were you, 5?
No,
Wow. Okay.
I just just turned 59. So 40
Well,
years.
happy
Chase,
birthday. Okay.
thank
Uh-huh.
you, man.
Uh-huh.
Chasing
Uh-huh.
melodies. That's what I call it. I just
Chasing
just
melodies
I had the record deal at 22, 23. Quincy Jones.
with Quincy,
Yeah, a little band
one of
called
my
Ravens.
heroes. My
Yeah,
hero.
actually, man, you guys came and took one of our singers, Renard
Yeah,
Gallo.
Renard Gallo. Shout out to
But
Renard, by the way.
yeah,
Shout
but you
and
know what?
man,
That
Renard
was
was
before
awesome.
I got in the band actually too. But
Hmm. Hmm.
and soon I got in the band, man, next thing I know, we got a record deal. I'm going to live in Ohio for 3 months to record an album. I said,
Where
man,
in Ohio?
let's Columbus, Ohio. The
Okay,
producer was uh
I had to do a shout out to Ohio, being from Akron, Ohio. That's
yeah,
where like close to
definitely.
there.
And
So
Reggie Griffin, man. I don't know if you
yes,
guys know about Reggie Griffin, man.
yep.
He good producer. He did,
Hmm.
Shaka Khan, A Feel for You remake.
Hmm.
I
Yep.
think Melly Mel. He did a lot of stuff with Sugar Hill Records, man. So, but
Yep.
yeah, he produced that record, man. So
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. So
Yep. He did some
uh,
work with us as well. That was a great time too.
yeah,
Had a
but
great
back to
time with him.
Jerry Martini, man.
Yes, please.
He was my first I guess say professional, work. I'm working 6 nights a week, and it was because of him.
Hmm.
And he was the saxophone player for Sly and the
For
Family
Sly.
Stone.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
And
I
some
got
of the
to meet
stories I'm sure he
everyone.
told you.
Oh yeah, he's been following me because he know I wants to play with his band so bad. I said, put me in, coach. Come on, put me in the
Right, right,
group.
right, right,
But
right.
I'm so thankful for him because he let
Uh-huh.
me know it's a business too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's man. You can't. let nothing take it personal. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Even from your
Hmm.
friends, if you're dealing with music, let's keep it business because we get mixed up, and sometimes people don't understand and take advantage of it, man.
Good point. Good point. Good
Yeah,
point.
but
I wanted to highlight because you did earlier. It's almost like you read my notes now. As far as like the audition process, because you were talking about like what you had to do to get the slide gig. As far
yeah,
as like your audition process, what do you do to prepare for like that kind of thing? First of all, you're at a disadvantage because you're on a cruise now and you get the call for a
yeah,
slide gig, and it's like,
yeah.
okay, now I got to prepare for this. How?
But you
You
know
know?
what? It was like, I mean, that was my teacher anyway, listening to those records because I'm
Hmm.
self-taught. That was the
Hmm.
radio. So training my ear and watching, I watched Larry Graham play it so many times.
Hmm.
I was honored to put his latest band together. I was a stand-in. He wasn't even there. He watched us on Skype in Minnesota. I rehearsed the band in Oakland for like 3 months
Wow. Uh-huh.
so I knew how he plays. He said it scared him a lot. He said, I'm gonna take you
Uh-huh.
on Maury Povich because you play too much like me. So because a lot of people think it's even for instance, I don't know if you hear this.
Hmm.
The thank you. It's one of the simplest lines, but a lot of people won't play it correctly. It's a
Oh my
slide.
gosh.
It's
Oh
not a
my gosh.
listen. If you can, I'm gonna play the difference. There's a lot of people
Please.
play it like a lot of people play it like this. No, that's totally wrong. Larry likes to slide. He likes to see that slide.
Uh-huh. Hmm. I know. I know. And
Slides that
what would
note.
always get to me is like how, and you just did it too, because I really hear bass players do that where they hit
Yeah,
that low, that doom, where they hit
yeah.
that,
They
know.
forget that.
Oh
That's
my
very
gosh.
important.
And to me, that's just as important as like any other part of the
It
song, like,
sure is,
because it
man.
rings right through. And it's like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, so I dissected all Larry stuff. I want to do a tribute show for him so bad. He said, "Man, don't do what they won't come see me." I said, "Man, you the inventor of this. Come on." So he talked me out of that one, but I'm gonna get it. I just
Uh-huh.
want to
Uh-huh.
honor him. Know why he's still here. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean?
Right. Right. Right.
Not what they want.
I love your approach to that too, because I mean you do pay attention to like, I mean even what some would consider like the smallest things. To me,
Yeah.
that's always been my approach. It's like that small thing is probably what made that song a hit,
Oh,
you
big
know.
time. Even with
So
ConFunkShun, because
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
Hmm.
Eddie, even with ConFunkShun, I didn't come in playing chops. A lot of cats. I mean, there was other cats that did audition for this
Hmm.
job, but I said I know every lick of this song. And then the bass players who actually played it were friends of mine. So
Hmm.
I said I'm gonna play it just like the record,
Hmm.
and that's how I got
Hmm.
that gig, man. So
Wow, wow.
because I played
And
with Michael Cooper in his solo act on a guitar for a whole year. This was right when Radiance was breaking up, but he saw me playing guitar when he came and saw our show, and so he didn't even know I played bass. So I played
so you
with
play
him.
guitar as well?
Yeah, I
Oh,
played with
okay.
him, fooled him for a whole year. He didn't know, and I
Wow.
know I'm self-taught on that too. So, but I knew his songs. I just studied it. He
Uh-huh.
couldn't deny me. He said, "Okay, he knows the song."
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
That's
but
and that's so funny because, like I said, I like your approach as far as like when you're learning songs and everything, and you do pay attention to like the smallest detail. Because, like I
yeah,
said before, it's those things that probably contribute to the song making a hit. And
signature
I know like
licks. Yeah.
a lot of people assume things in songs,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
I used to tell people it's like listen, just because it sounds right doesn't mean it is right, and you have to go back. You got to listen to this stuff,
Gotta
really
listen,
listen to it.
man.
So
Yeah.
I appreciate that you mentioned that because
Oh
that's
yeah.
as important as that is to you. I mean,
But
that's
that's
very
how I
important.
got a few other gigs because
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have a rehearsal time with them. I played with Steve Arrington. I didn't have no rehearsal time with him,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a lot of syncopated funk.
Oh my God.
Then he said, "Man, you can sing and play." I said, "Yeah,
Steve,
come on, man. What's wrong with you?" You know,
Steve Arrington, the ooh wee funk.
ooh wee funk. I love those bass lines. I said,
Uh-huh.
man,
Mm-hmm.
Mark Adams and those cats, Steve
Mm-hmm.
Rushton, man, funky
Mm-hmm.
man. But I would just, I did a lot of gigs without rehearsal. Karen White,
Oh,
Garble Peoples,
mm-hmm.
Alexander Sherrill, just
Mm-hmm.
off the cuff because they know I will put in the work. So we're just fine tuning it at sound check.
Got you.
You
Got
know
you.
it's showtime.
Oh, okay, okay. So when you said you did a lot of gigs without rehearsal, I mean, did you prepare? I mean, you prepared somewhat for that, and then you kind of walked in
Yeah,
ready.
I
Okay.
would make sure I know what key, because some, usually it's in the original key, but some,
Hmm.
people voices get older, they want to drop the key, but
Hmm.
I'm able to play in any key because I
Hmm.
definitely learned the basics that I needed to know on my instrument
Hmm.
without knowing theory or anything. People are tripped
Hmm.
out when I tell them, so, no, I can't read music. No, I can't tell you what scale this is. Because I
Hmm.
just play from the heart.
Hmm. Okay. Speaking of that, talk about practice. Like what you do, like your normal routine. Um, One of my favorite quotes, and I'm gonna read right from my notes here so I get it right. Muhammad Ali, of course, another hero of mine. He has stated one time, "I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion." You
Oh
know,
yeah, I
so I
totally
kind of
agree.
tied that in as far as practicing. We practice. It's not fun.
Yeah,
To be real, it's
yeah,
not fun. Some people like love it, but most of
yeah,
us, it's like, oh man, I got to go over the scale again. I got to go over this again. I got to do this again, and all that stuff.
yeah.
But in the end, what happens is people like you. I mean, you're called. You're pretty much like a first call on like a lot of people's list or whatever. What do you do as far as like practice, and how do you approach when you do practice?
Like I said, I would dissect whatever material they wanted me to, and usually they have shows on YouTube or
Mm-hmm.
recording. I try to
And we
learn
do
those
have
things.
that now. We have YouTube. Back in the day, we didn't
Yeah,
have that.
back in the day, yeah,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
it was, I didn't have to go through that then because I
Hmm.
didn't, after Radiance, I went to Michael Cooper and ConFunkShun. So, still we rolling, it's like I didn't have to learn about that. Well, Prince, he warned us. He warned us it was coming. So
Uh-huh.
you could
Uh-huh.
pick up anything off the internet now. Your own record company, if you got a computer, wow, you have a record
Hmm.
company.
Exactly. 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 As far as songwriting, and you have, is it 3 CDs? Do I have that right?
No, actually, I put out a few singles, but I did one CD actually. It was
Oh, I
called
thought there were
Just for
three.
You.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I dropped some singles, but I did one CD. I actually, man, and it came to me just off a fluke. It was my birthday. I can't
Hmm.
forget it though. It was my 50th birthday. So 9 years ago, the ex-mayor of Oakland, his name is Elihu Harris, and his wife came to my birthday party. I didn't know them at the time, but I looked at I have a guest book, people sign in. Next thing I know, I got a Facebook message. Hey, we want to do a project on you. I already had some demo songs, and man, they ended up taking me into Fantasy Studio, and we
Oh my
recorded.
gosh.
I was,
Really?
they treated me like, oh my man, like just whatever I needed. I went to
Hmm.
Fantasy Studios for one
Hmm.
thing, to
Hmm.
record 12 songs, and I only put 8 songs on the compilation. But it came out late August 2013, but it was good enough to be considered for a Grammy. Man, it made it to the first round.
It was
Cause
good enough. I like how you put that. It was good enough to be considered a great.
you know, because I guess it's a time frame for voting and all that. But my
Mhm.
single was called "Never Stop Loving," and it stayed in the top 10 for 2 weeks on the R&B
Love it.
R&B
Awesome.
sales. So there's a video out there too on it. But
Very good. And we can
so
find that
they
on YouTube. Hmm.
yeah, then someone just took a chance on me because I always wanted to make my own music. So when I thought about it, I said, wow, it took
Hmm.
me that long, the chase of just creating my own whatever inside of me. It took me that long
Hmm.
to actually release my own quality record. I was so proud of it. Still play it today, and people still purchase it from me too. I do a
Hmm.
lot of little local shows or live gigs around here when
Gotcha.
we could.
Gotcha.
But even
Okay.
even on road, they still ask for that CD and certain songs. Yeah,
And
man,
again, the name of the CD,
called Just for You.
just for you. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, look at he's got. Is he
I'm
looking for it?
looking, man. Oh God, I'm sorry. I'll grab
No, no, no,
it.
no, no. That's okay. That's okay. As again, we stated earlier that you are the bass player for ConFunkShun.
Yeah.
Killer, killer, killer band. And if you get the opportunity to check out EQ on YouTube with ConFunkShun, first of all, ConFunkShun show is just off the chain good. Very,
I'm still
very,
a
very, very
fan,
good.
Eddie. I'm
Oh,
still a fan.
I can
People
only
say, man,
imagine.
you know what I mean? Because I was like in 10th grade following those cats around, and it was a
Mm-hmm.
trip. I remember they played in Oakland. This is when Sheila E. was playing with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was tall as them in high school. So I saw them going through backstage, and I had an old Frankie Beverly pass. I put the laminate on upside down. I got in
What?
line and stood right in and walked backstage. I said, "Wow, I'm backstage." You know,
What? What? And this is
I
before
met
you're
them.
actually with them.
Yes, man. And actually, I had a band. Okay, I was 21. We opened
Mm-hmm.
up a function up here in Sacramento, man. So I met them many occasions,
Mm-hmm.
to have my own. And I did my own solo shows. I did maybe 3 shows, opening up a function. I think Charlie Wilson was on the show, Keith Sweat, Big Edition,
Wow.
Midnight Star. So I've
Uh-huh.
been able to get a few nice opening act shows on my own.
What?
Yeah.
A few nice opening
Yeah.
act shows. I
But it's
love
a
it.
trip because I go change my clothes and jump back up there with ConFunkShun or Dad's Band or Steve Harrison. I said,
So
wow.
so over that time, and like I said, EQ is like the premier bassist and all that, and quite the showman too. And again, if you get the opportunity to check him out on YouTube, please check him out. There's this one part in the show, and it features EQ on the bass, and it is like this medley that goes back and brings all the old school stuff that pretty much are bass heavy that features EQ. And for EQ, it's not just him playing the bass. I mean, talk about just putting on a show. I mean, this dude is like all over the stage on that bass. So to
And
me, that was like a highlight. How did
let me
that come about?
just let me give you my theory behind it because I see a lot of people trying to do it now. I even saw Verdine White do it. Michael Cooper Carby said, "Verdine's up here doing your solo."
Uh-uh.
But yeah, he did all the little
Wow.
stuff. But the
Uh-huh.
reason why I did it because those were my college bass lines. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, these you should know these bass lines within 3 notes. You know what I mean? It was like,
Exactly.
yeah, I said, man, all I needed was bass and drums, but it got bigger and bigger. My solo is probably almost 20 minutes long now,
Yes. Yep. Yep.
and
Yep.
I even got gigs out of that because I play like a DJ. They say,
Uh-huh.
wow, we don't need a DJ. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
hire you. So I just did 2 shows over the past 2 weeks as
Uh-huh.
playing my own track show. So it's like them having a DJ who's actually a musician and can sing the part because I get karaoke track with the backgrounds in there
Right.
already. And man, I'm having a ball. I'm
Right. Right.
keeping it moving. I gotta, stay creative.
Right, right. And again, I truly appreciate that because this is going back to what you said earlier as far as like learning those bass lines. I mean, you
Yeah.
learned those bass lines,
Yeah,
you
man, because
know.
check this out. You should know what that is already,
Yes,
right?
yes,
You know what I
yes.
mean?
And I mean, not only the lines, but the sounds themselves. I mean, you literally nailed
Exactly.
like the sounds of like those basses.
That's
And
why.
that's a perfect example too.
And
Oh, there it is.
there was so many hit records made
Mm-hmm,
on the 4 string, and Fender. So a lot
mm-hmm,
of cats come up to me, say, man, why you don't play 5 strings? So I try to, and even ConFunkShun say, man, you play too jazzy now. So and
wow.
I had to think about it. I said those records were made on 4 strings. So I
Mm-hmm,
challenged
mm-hmm.
anybody out there. I said, I'll play 5 string if you show me a hit record that was made on the 5 string. It got real
Great point.
silent. Got real
Great point.
silent. No one
Mm-hmm,
answered that question yet. I'm waiting.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And
I'll take
it's funny going back to what you said earlier as far as like when you did play the 5 string bass, there was a
yeah.
jazz feel to it, a jazz tone. Is that how
Oh,
it
because I
kind of came
guess
on?
that low note is usually a B, so it's
Right.
like you get those synth bass notes. So it's like, okay, E, you're riding that bass too. I like playing like
Mm-hmm,
a catfish. I like to be on the bottom.
mm-hmm.
So when I find I can go deeper than, man, D or
Uh-huh.
C or even B. I said, man, wow.
Nice.
But
Nice.
I'm not that kind of guy, musician. I don't think I'm a musician. I'm more of an entertainer. So, I have to do the, choreography and keep moving. So I'm always gripping my neck like I'm choking something. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll be looking at other cats, how fluent they are, but I'm so trained. Okay, I got to hit notes. I got to do steps, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a musician. I'm still in training. I want to be a good player, but I do fault my handicap. I don't know if you can see it because I
Uh-oh.
broke this thumb. Look, I mean, there's
Oh,
some bends.
right? Oh, wow.
This
Okay.
one here, and it's even bigger, you know.
Uh-huh.
But so
Uh-huh.
this is my money maker. So I can't do a lot of the tricks a lot of the guys
Oh, okay.
do this, and maybe that's why I'm kind of like, because I do what I can do. You know, I can.
Okay. And you are quite the tenor, but I am going to beg to differ with you. You're quite the musician as well. You know, and
Thank you, yeah,
I'm just
man.
going to throw
Man,
that
I
out
was
there.
shocked with you, man. I didn't know you played piano the way you did. I'm reminiscing switch. All I see is
Oh
a
my God.
trombone. Like, man, come on, man. I want to switch the interview. Let's talk about you.
It is so funny because to this day, I mean, they definitely highlighted the trombone, and it did look good on the photos and all that stuff. But
Man,
I mean, the piano that's my first love from classical and all
oh,
that.
I
That's
was
I
in
always
awe.
refer that that's home.
Just in
You
awe
know.
listening to you play. I was like, wow,
Oh
man.
man,
And
thank you so
and
much.
just to find out I got family affiliated with you.
Oh,
Um, Michael McGlory is my cousin.
what?
You're a guitar player who made the signature guitar licks, and then he told me he played think Bad Mama Jamma. I hated that song. He
Yes.
said, me too. He said, but that's me on the guitar. I said, what? So because I'm into
Yeah.
the ancestry. I got into the ancestry DNA, man. We made a connection, man. We are cousins. I said, man, you were one of my
Wow.
favorite groups. I said,
Wow. Wow. And Michael, you know, I mean, his guitar playing, I mean, it's just like it's off
yeah,
the chain. You know.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. I'm trying to get him to play something for him. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. He my cousin.
Okay, and I'm going to jump on him too. You need to do this.
I know
There's
that's
no
right.
question. You need to do this too. So I
No,
got
I
you. I
had to.
got your back on that.
I had to kick myself in the own face. Okay, I was talking about music business. No, I had to go
Mhm.
ahead and go ahead and with business. Yeah. Hey, cousin, about that.
Got you.
Play
Got
something,
you.
you know.
Right. Right. Let's go back and again, we're talking about auditions and this and that and the other. How did you get into, or how did you get with ConFunkShun?
Function was formed after I did the year with Michael Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but so the following year, he had some more gigs. He was doing working with I think Roger and Keith Sweat at the time, and
Mm-hmm.
he couldn't find his bass player. So I said, I raised my hand like a little kid in school, Mike. I, I really play bass.
Uh-huh.
So his last couple of shows with in his solo act, you know, it was going to come to an end for his, you know, his solo career. So him and Felton Pilot got back together and said, hey, we're gonna put back together ConFunkShun. But you know,
We're
there
gonna
was
put the
other,
band back together.
yeah. But you know, I know they had their personal favorites because they didn't know how I played, but I
Right.
knew those songs back, you
I'm
know, left
sure.
and right, and
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I said, man. So 27 years later, you know, I still get subs. You know, sometimes I can't make gigs, so
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, it's a lot to that position, being up front. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Cedric, I remember Cedric. I got to meet him one time, the original bass player. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he was a showman as well. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
learned from cats like Robert Wilson, energetic. You know, and they not showing chops, but they all over the stage. Verdine White. You know, I saw him, you know, from a ceiling hanging up in the air, spinning
Right.
over. I said,
Right.
I
I
want to do
remember.
that. You know.
Right. Right.
You know, and I'm
Uh-huh.
looking at, you know, Lewis Johnson. I said, I play like him. I look like his brother. I said, you know, I just put everybody in one pot. All my favorites, Cool Bell, you know, Larry Graham, of
Wow.
course, Bootsy, Mark Adams. You know, I put them all
Mm-hmm.
in a pot. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
created my own EQ. I said, I'm gonna take something. Oh, y'all.
You are reading my notes too, because I was going to ask, how did you develop that
Oh,
style? You totally are. 'Cause, I mean, your whole
we're
style
here,
is.
baby.
Oh,
We
I'm
right
telling
here,
you. I mean,
E.
totally right
Come
here.
on,
And that was the question I was going to
man.
ask you as far as like your style. I mean, how did you develop? You know, like what approach did you have to developing your own personal style? And you pretty much hit
Well,
upon it. I mean, you took all those and put them in a pot, and we come up with EQ.
because in the beginning, people, if I listened to jazz, it was because I had a guitar then. It was George Benson, so I learned how
Mm.
to play breezing on the guitar.
Oh my gosh!
I thought that was
And I
I'm
got to
gonna
keep
record.
remembering. That's right. He played guitar. I got,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
but it was too many strings for me, and I was in a
it was
neighborhood
too
over
many
the.
strings.
It was I was in a neighborhood for for the older guys. They had bands, you know. They wouldn't let me play, you know. They said, "Go away, kid. You're too young." So I stayed in the garage 6 months, and then
What?
it's called the real wood shit. I practiced for
Uh
six
huh.
months, and that's how I
Mm-hmm.
ended up getting with the Jehovah Witness band. which led me to Larry Graham and
Mhm.
the journey after that. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the cats today, they still come to me. Can you show me how to play this song? I say,
Really,
wow,
really.
you wouldn't let me come in and listen to you
Mhm.
guys play it all. I
Mhm.
remember
Mhm.
stuff like that, man. It was always okay. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna
Mhm.
show.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So did they seek you out? Did the ConFunkShun seek you out as far as being with them, or you the
No,
word was just out there?
no,
Okay.
no. They had they like I said, they had their favorites, and casual recorded with them. But
Mhm.
I know what they couldn't bring, and people pay
I
for
love it.
entertainment. you
Mhm.
know, People pay for
Mhm.
entertainment. I might not get called for the studio session. I'm not, like I said, I'm not that musician guy, but hey, I could do the part if you ask.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
and I'm not known for that. I'm known for the theatrics. People used to seeing me jumping off speakers on their tables, and they're used to that guy. I kind of
uh,
calm down a lot because I don't want to, overdo my position. But when they give me the green light, I'm gonna
it's
give you a memory.
it's totally on.
I'm gonna give you a memory. Yes.
Right, right, right. And again, we're talking about a man that he comes to the show and he looks good. He's dressed from head to toe, and he's moving around the stage like you wouldn't believe. I mean, this is awesome. But it's funny, like you said, but you still maintain your position in the band and on the
Yeah.
stage,
Yeah.
which is
Still do.
awesome,
Yes, sir.
awesome, awesome. So as some of the things you've had to deal with, like over the years and everything in the business, what are some trials or what are some lessons that you've learned as far as the business, both good and bad? Um, for our listeners who come in, and as we spoke before, and as I kind of use as a reminder, as far as the playground, we come to play on the playground all the time, but every once in a while we get those bumps and bruises. Um,
It's just
do you remember a few, or I'm sure there are quite a
it's
few.
really, the failure of being, I was with Quincy Jones twice, so
Mm-hmm,
man, I'm thinking I'm gonna be Michael Jackson, you know what I'm saying? It's like
mm-hmm,
chasing desires of fame
mm-hmm,
or fortune. It comes with a price, I think.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
don't like the business at all. I love performing for the people making music, but it is a business and
It is.
we don't have enough control. I
Mm-hmm.
think we're better off now because everybody, like I said, once you got your own computer, you pretty much have your own record company, if you want to
Pretty
call it
much.
that. Well, but man, just that's the only thing I don't like the business. I really
Mm.
don't. But I
Mhm.
would play for you, you know. I would play for you. You know what I mean?
uh,
It's like that's what keep me
uh,
going. 'Cause I know it's a gift that we were chosen to do. So if I didn't do it, man, I think God would be very angry. And a lot of
mhm.
people were angry that I chose music because they thought I was going to play baseball. You know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
I was a
there was
yeah.
a strong interest in sports back then. I mean, you
Oh,
obviously had
big
a natural
time.
talent. Yeah.
I played varsity in ninth grade, shortstop. So,
Oh,
I was
okay.
I was scouted to come to this certain school, but a lot of the racism kicked in,
Ah.
the prejudice because I was good and I didn't play JV. It was that coach. He didn't like
Mhm,
me. So and
mhm.
he was my biology teacher, so he's gonna make it hard for me. So
Oh.
and then plus hormones kicked in, 15, 16, prettiest girl in the high school. Hey, everybody like music. But Eddie, I took music in high school. Do you know they would not teach me bass? But they found out how good I could play to where they wanted me to play in their top 40 band at night. But in high school, I didn't even have to go to class. I go and
Oh.
show my face and say, okay, and I have my little boombox or a book that I was trying to read. I wasn't reading no book. I was just up there, slapping and plucking, for a whole hour. Hey, I'll see you tonight at rehearsal. And
Right.
the same thing happened with my algebra teacher. So I learned early on in life it was a who you know business or any situation, man. So it's like,
Mm, mm.
I hated high school. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I did it
Who
different.
else did?
I wish I had mentors, because I was scouted for baseball, but I didn't have a clue. I didn't think about pro. I met Willie Mays, and he was so mean. I said,
Oh.
I don't want to be a baseball player if I got to be mean. I was a
Oh.
little kid. My pops taking me up to get his autograph.
Mm.
Get away from me. wow, maybe
Wow.
that turned me off of baseball. You know, I said, man, I don't want to be like
Wow.
that. I love people. I like, I love people coming up asking for pictures and autographs. I never shy
Hmm.
away from that, but
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
maybe that really disturbed me about baseball. I was that good,
Hmm.
all-star team traveling, I'm on a plane 14 because I'm playing baseball. But like I said, the hormones,
Wow.
and just
Wow.
something, I didn't have no coaches yelling at me. And plus in high school, nobody came to the baseball game. They went to the football games. Man, I'm over there looking at the football. I'm over the baseball field. They having a game at the football. I said, man,
Uh-huh.
all the girls all over there. But yeah,
That's a great point. Wherever the band was, that's where everybody was.
exactly, man. So I learned to play with the ensemble band, to get another grade out of it because they
Uh-huh.
wouldn't teach me. So a lot of cats we would just put together and we played top 40, like even what's this a song? What's that song? Son, we're here. Son is here.
Oh, right, right, right,
yeah,
right. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, you totally went
we
back.
yeah, we played stuff like that. So it was fun to play in the high school gym
Hmm. Hmm.
and that was my training of just one. And that's where I saw Larry Graham too. He came to my high school in 11th grade. He toured the whole Bay Area. And he inspired
Wow.
so many people. Of 1978, I was in
Hmm.
11th grade, man. I knew Larry Graham was coming to my school. I
Hmm.
sat up front row in
Hmm.
my gym like a little girl.
Hmm.
Man, they came out with their marching band. He had a sweatsuit on. And I said, man, he's singing, dancing, and playing. So I
Uh-huh.
figured
Uh-huh.
that was a must. I just,
Got you. Got you.
people say, how can you do that? How can you sing, dance, and don't miss a beat and still play on? I said, just
Uh-huh.
something we had to do in those days.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Now I got to ask you, and this is a personal question of mine. I just got to ask for me. Again, you're in the Bay Area, which is pretty much a music mecca, of the time, and even now, Tower of Power.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I got to see a mixture of that because Graham used to do shows here. The
Hmm.
concerts were there. So I always go watch Graham Station and Tower of Power be on the same shows to
Oh my
hear the
gosh.
power. But
Gosh.
then they would come sit in with Graham, they playing whatever.
Hmm.
All them horns,
Hmm.
5, 6 horn players.
Oh
Oh,
my gosh. Oh my gosh.
unreal.
And I ask,
Unreal.
because Tower of Power, of course, being trombone player, they were one of my mentors as far as like learning how to play, listen to them on record and all that stuff, learn how to play trombone and all that stuff, and actually learning how to like chart music by listening to like a lot of their charts and all that.
I want
And
to sit
it's
down
funny,
with
what
you
you
one day.
what,
You got to
I'm
explain
sorry.
to me. I'm gonna have to sit down with you one day, man. You
Oh my
you
god.
explain. I have no patience. Of okay, this means here. I just don't. I mean, I want to learn a basic. What's a minor scale against a major scale? What is it? I just want to learn
What?
this. I don't know simple stuff like that. I know my note. I
Hmm.
know my strings,
Hmm.
and that's what got me as far as
And
I
look
got. But
and look
I
at where
never
that
learned
got you.
scale.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I
Hmm.
want to learn why. Maybe because I do know people who read music, but I look for the passion. I said they don't feel
Mm.
nothing. They just
Mm.
just
Mm.
reading the note. I said then I
Mm.
asked them to make up something. It'd be like a deer in the headlights. What do you mean make up something?
Hmm.
Oh, I
Mm.
said the passion. What you feel in your heart.
Hmm.
I said what is this drum beat telling you to do?
And
So
that is a huge, huge, huge thing, especially in this business. And
so I
and I
think
can
it'll
honestly
be
say,
cool.
just by watching you, you can tell that you're having a good time. I mean, and
I'm
it's not
having
fake either.
fun.
It's
I'm
not
having
fake.
fun.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, Eddie. It's just fun to me. I
Hmm.
love it, man. I'm telling you,
Hmm.
that's what keep me going because I've been through, man, crazy ordeal. Losing my daughter.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
Being murdered on my birthday. It's
I'm
crazy.
sorry. Hmm.
2003. So she was only
Hmm.
16. So I know she would want me to keep going. I still
Hmm.
have a son and 2 grandkids here, and my mom's still here, and
Hmm.
sister's brother. But I know they would want me to keep going. I do
Yes.
struggle a lot with, so people,
With.
it is a lot of mental therapy that's needed for a lot of
Hmm.
people. And I know I
Hmm.
should get myself. You know, I never did, but I know I should. But I know this music and this
But you
bass and
have that. But you do have the
yeah,
music.
yeah, and
And
that's been
I'll be honest. I mean, for me, that's been a saving grace. I mean, all my life is that hey,
man,
with everything else that's going on in my head and life and
yeah.
all that stuff, I do have that,
I know that,
I'm
man,
thankful
Eddie.
for
I
that.
feel like our lives are flashing in front of our
Mm-hmm.
face right now. I can't
Mm-hmm.
believe we're living through this. I used
Mm-hmm.
some people don't, I have to speak. You know, I can't deny him. You know, I believe
Mm-hmm.
in Jesus. So just
Mm-hmm.
to read the word, and we're in
Mm-hmm.
Revelations right now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
people denial. They think a man's gonna fix the problem. I say, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
they really need to read. I don't
Mm-hmm.
start preaching. I'm sorry,
No,
but
no, no.
get back to
No, it's all good. And again, since we're there, since you brought us there, as far as like you said, this is a very difficult time that the whole world is kind of living in, and it's where the music community is as well. When this whole thing first came down in March or whatever, for us anyway, my calendar was pretty much like wiped clean. From
yes.
waking up that morning to having the calendar full of busy stuff that I got to do over the next who knows how many months, to like that night going to bed with no work for the next few months.
I
How has that
know.
affected you and what you do, and how do you get through this? How are you getting through this now?
When it first went down, I freaked out. I'm not gonna lie, 'cause I said, man, I felt like, the plug has been pulled. What am I gonna do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But man, the first people actually stepped in, to help the musician out, 'cause sometimes we're not considered part of society. You know what I mean? It's like we should have way more write-offs, than we can, they don't treat us like that. But we provide so much medicine and just just escapism for people through music, man. But music cares, man. Hats off to them, man. The
Mm-hmm.
people from the Grammys, like I said, man, they actually supported me. I thought I was just a little grain and a
Mm-hmm.
pebble, and okay, yeah, everybody helped, but they stepped up within a month. 'Cause our last show was March 7th. We were in Houston. Yeah, man. So,
Mm-hmm.
man, how long is it? Almost 6 months of not playing. We do have a pay-per-view show next month in Las Vegas, actually, coming your
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gonna be weird because it's not gonna be a crowd.
Right. Right.
Lakeside, Yarborough People's Climax Function, but
Mm-hmm.
no crowd. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of prepared myself because I've been doing home shows and
Mm-hmm.
playing to a phone, and I'm up here sweating bullets thinking I got a crowd. They said, man, you working hard. What's your cash out? Man, I said,
Ah.
this
Mm-hmm.
could be another bit. But you
Mm-hmm.
have to think of it like that. You have to think
Mm-hmm.
outside the box, A
And
lot of
I do want to go back to a point that you mentioned earlier as far as like music cares, because when you and I were talking about this, even before the show, you had mentioned music cares. And me personally, I'm sure I'm one of many who thought, what are the chances? So I did not, I
man, I
didn't,
wish you
go
did.
there. But you're
I,
witness that, hey, do it.
yes,
What
yes,
is,
please.
it can happen.
Yeah.
So,
And actually, I helped out Boosie about a month ago. He was doing for his latest song, I think he just put out. We did a little PSA of telling people about music cares, and man, they really stepped up. I was shocked, 'cause
mm-hmm.
I thought, who am I? I don't have no hit record, or man, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the board anymore, of course, a
Mm-hmm.
member, but they
Mm-hmm.
said, no problem, just show us proof you have cancellations. And that's all I did. I got a
Wow, it
cover
was
letter.
that simple.
It was that, so I got a cover letter from the leader of ConFunkShun, and showing, okay, our schedule has been wiped out. Boom,
Mm-hmm.
man. The unemployment worked. It actually worked.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
even back pay, they went off base of how much I made the
Mm-hmm.
previous year. So
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I did with the unemployment as well. And they did ask that question. I was like so early in the beginning to where, I was answering questions that did not apply to me. And, when it came down to it, they were like, dude, you're like really early as far as this. We don't even have the questions to put on the form to ask you as far as this yet. So, so it turned out that did work out for me. But like you said earlier, it's like, go for it,
yeah,
it can
just
happen. They
yeah.
make
And
it
I
possible.
believe just our, we're special people, man. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
cannot lie. We're here for a reason.
And I'm glad
We
you brought that up because you did say something just a minute ago as far as like, we are special, we're special, and that we're not, I think the way you said it is that we're not really, they don't consider us as part of the society, as part of society.
yeah. Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
interesting that you put it that way.
And I think we've been taken care of just from the powers, up
Mm-hmm.
above. Cause
Mm-hmm.
man, I read about it, and he took care of the musicians. So I
Mm-hmm.
stopped worrying. I said, man, I just
Mm-hmm.
put my trust in him. I'm not, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm a
And I'd
witness,
always
man.
say, I remember I would always say, as far as like us or whatever, we have like the people that appreciate what we do and everything, and
Yeah,
man, what you had to go, you looks like you're having like so much fun and this and that and the other. Man, I wish I could do what you do. But what a
yeah,
lot of people don't realize as far as our business is that, we did all of our work, we put in all of our work
yeah,
back then.
yeah,
Like you said, you were just a kid, and you pick
yeah,
up you were given a 3-string guitar and you
yeah.
learned it then. And we put in all the work then, So this didn't just come to us like now.
No,
We
it
did
didn't
all,
come.
hmm
No, people don't
hmm
see the sweat and grind that you put
hmm
in. I
right. They
said,
did not see
man,
that.
I had
hmm
to think
hmm
about it. I said, man, 40 years I've been fresh out of
hmm
high school doing this, and I still love it. And it's
hmm
like, I did the 9 to 5s, and I was all good.
right.
But
Didn't we all?
is that,
We did the
is
regular
that,
jobs.
yeah? I said,
Uh-huh.
is that my purpose?
hmm hmm
I'm never gonna be rich, yeah, of course. But
hmm
man, is that my purpose?
hmm
Man, I mean, I'm honored that you're talking to me, man, because you're one
Oh,
of my heroes, man.
thank
I
you,
mean,
thank you, thank you.
serious. I mean,
I'm honored that
just
you're even doing
because
this.
my
Thank you.
group, we wanted to be the next Switch, man. We had that look, had that pompadour hanging over and stuff.
That pompadour. But
Man, oh
this.
man, it
Thank
was
you,
weird, man. 'Cause, yeah,
thank
Switch
you.
was definitely one of our heroes.
Thank
Definitely.
you, thank you, thank you so much. So finally, in closing, let me ask you this: what advice would you offer, like those that are coming up in the business, those that are just beginning, and even veterans such as myself? Such a lot of us. What advice would you offer, and especially in this difficult time that we're living now? What advice would you offer?
Well, more for the parents, if they see it in their child, don't deny them, saying that they can't. If they really got a desire and they got a passion, and you don't have to tell them to, go practice or whatever. They want to do it just on the natural. That's the one you get behind. But
Mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm,
if you get forced to come here, it's time for lessons, and they stomping their feet, you're wasting your money. I taught a few kids like that, to where okay, man, these people just paying me because of, the little celebrityism. I said, this kid does
mm-hmm,
not want to play. They want to
mm-hmm.
talk for me. And then the session was an hour. They want to talk at least 30 to 40 minutes. Just talk. It's
Nice. Wow. You too. I get that too.
yeah, so y'all prepay me for a month. I said, your baby don't want to play, but I try
Mm-hmm,
to get them into it, give them homework to do, and come back, it's the same thing. Hey, how are you? Then you can see the parents that would, want to take the pictures. I said, man, I want to do it
mm-hmm,
for kids who really want
mm-hmm.
to play. I thought about when Prince, before he passed, he said, man, I'm just going to start giving lessons. Man, can you imagine sitting down with
Wow.
Prince? I just
Wow.
imagine how much he would charge,
Exactly, exactly.
but what
And
he
can you
would just
imagine
do it
telling
from the
Prince,
heart.
I didn't, can you imagine telling Prince, I didn't get a chance to practice this week.
Right, right. Because I know how hard he was with his bands. I
Mm-hmm,
got personal friends who work with us, and man,
mm-hmm,
they put
mm-hmm,
time in. I, I would have loved to have that opportunity
mm.
to sit down and cats like that. Even Larry Graham, he won't show me nothing.
I,
He let everybody come jam on the stage. He won't let me go on the stage with us. He don't let I said, Larry, I done tuned your bass up, sound checked it for you, played
uh,
your band for you. He won't let me get on that stage.
uh, I'm going to
But I
share something with
love
you
it.
as far as bass players. One of the, and this goes back in the day. One of the pictures that stays with me as far as bass players is the amp that's taller than them. you
Yeah.
know, and turning around to the bass, standing in front of the speakers, and like reaching way up there and
Oh
turning
yeah.
something or whatever to get that
I
perfect
did
sound or
that.
whatever.
I got pictures out there too, man. I took it from Larry, man. Had the big Surin Vega with the tweeter bank. It was
Right?
taller than me, and I'm 6 feet, so it was taller than me. So
Oh my God. That was
I was
always
the
my
thing to
favorite
do.
picture of like watching of bass players. Every bass
Yeah,
player, it's like, okay, how good is a bass player? First of all, the stack is maybe about 10
right,
feet tall. And they're playing, and this is all happening while you're playing, right? You're playing
right,
and reach up there and make a small thing that only you can hear. Only you can hear the
right.
difference that makes. but we can all feel it, you know.
Yeah.
And I used to love that, you know. So
Oh yeah.
watch bass players do that. Well, listen. Thank you so much, Eric
Man, thank
Young,
you, brother. Thank you, Eddie.
EQ, bass player extraordinaire with ConFunkShun. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Man,
Thank you
thank
so
brother.
much.
Man, thank you, Eddie,
Thank you.
for having me, man.
And to everybody that watched, thank you for tuning into the playground. And as I say all the time, keep listening to the music, keep the music playing. And we thank you again. EQ, I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Love you, brother.
Love you too. Thank you.
Okay.